What's up guys? Today I'm going to be reviewing the Reebok Legacy Lifter 2s. Now I'm going to be honest with you, from the start I thought I was going to give these shoes a very bad review. When I first saw the announcement, I thought they were pretty ugly. I thought they were going to give them the Adidas treatment where their shoes have kind of been going downhill. But once I actually put these on and started lifting in them, I liked them way more than I thought I would. I wore them for a little bit and I got a good session in them doing hang snatches and some light clean and jerks, so I think I'll be able to give you a good rundown on the shoe. So the first thing I want to talk about, which is the easiest thing to talk about, is the looks of the shoe. Again, I'm not a huge fan of how it looks. I actually ordered a women's size 10. I went up 2 sizes. Normally I wear an 8 because on the website they didn't even have the men's shoe available. So I bought the women's. I prefer the white over the black as well. They only had black for men. So I grabbed this one. I do like the white shoe. I just don't really like the speckled black on the sides here moving into the front. And I also don't like this retro-ish style they've been going with. I know they did this with the Nano 10 as well. You can tell the tongue looks similar to the Nano 10 and they're going back to the original Reebok logo. Going back to the sizing too, again, I got a 10 in women's. I would have gone a half size down. They're just a little too big for me. The original Legacy Lifters were a little too big for me as well. So like I would have gotten a 7.5 and the shoe's pretty small. So same thing with the 2s. I probably would have gone to a 7.5 in men's. One thing I really do like about the look of the shoe that I will say is it definitely looks a little less clunky compared to the 1. So on the 1, I have it right here. With the straps, you actually have these extra pieces on the shoe off to the side. You can kind of see these parts that come off the edge of the shoe. I just think it's too clunky in terms of feel and looks. Whereas this one, you got one strap and there's not a bunch of extra pieces holding that strap in place outside of actually being attached to the shoe. So I'm gonna start diving into performance related things because certain changes in the look of the shoe actually add to the performance of it as well. For example, one thing I didn't notice right away is the fact that this heel, this back end of the shoe, comes a little bit higher than the 1s, if you can see it there. So what I think this does personally, at least for me when I'm wearing the shoes, is I feel like I actually have less heel slip in the 2s, which is super important to me because that was my biggest knock on the Outsole 4s, was I had a ton of heel slip. I stopped wearing the shoe completely. I thought the shoe sucked because I had so much heel slip in it. Another change they made that I think benefits the shoe is the outsole design. So this one has way more ridges than the 1s. The 1s kind of has this diamond formation on it. I would have to wear them more to really know how big of a difference it makes, but I do feel a little bit more of a grip on the ground, which of course is gonna make a big difference depending on what ground you are lifting on. I might go to a meet where the wood platform is just a little slippery, so if I have a bit more grip in my outsole, I will be safer when I'm doing things like jerks. You're probably noticing a lot of these changes are kind of subtle, but to me they make a difference in terms of how I'm lifting in the shoe. I like that they didn't make too many big changes. At first I was like, shit, they didn't make any big changes. The shoe probably is the same or even worse. And it's actually just a little bit better because of these small changes. Another change they made that is very subtle is the flatness of the outsole. So I feel like the Legacy Lifter 2 has a flatter outsole than the Legacy Lifter 1 does. I feel like a lot of newer weightlifting shoes are starting to make the toe arc up, so it's easier to rock onto your toes when you're lifting. Whereas when you have a shoe like the Outsole 2s or the Antas, those shoes are completely flat, so you are way more stable when you're catching lifts. In newer weightlifting shoes, again, the toe arcs up, so it's easier to rock forward. In the Legacy Lifter 1s, I feel like the arc is a little sudden. It's a very small change, but because it's sudden, I feel like you're almost on this fulcrum when you're wearing the shoe. So it's much easier to rock on your toes, and I did have this issue when I was lifting. It's almost negligible, but it was something I could notice when I was changing weightlifting shoes. Whereas with the 2s, they are flatter overall, but also in this spot where this little white piece is, I feel like the shoe props out maybe about 1 millimeter. It's very small, but that almost prevents you from rocking onto your toe because it's propping you up just a smidge. I hope I explained that part okay. It's kind of hard to describe the outsole and how flat it is and different pieces of it doing different things. but hopefully you understood what I meant. Something I want to go back to is the straps. So again, the 2 only has 1 strap. I definitely prefer 1 strap. I think 2 is just a little unnecessary. Some people like the second strap. They feel like they need it around their toes to lock the toe box into place. I don't like that. I like having a little bit of freedom for my toes, and then strapping around the ankle just a little bit more, I feel like is more helpful when I'm lifting. Okay, a couple more things I want to talk about. First is the weight of the shoe. It's hard to tell without actually weighing them. They feel the same to me. In fact, the 2 might be just a little bit heavier, and I'm a little surprised by that because of the strap difference. The strap on the 2 is a bit beefier, but yes, they feel almost equal. The 2 might be beating out the 1 in weight. So if you like heavy weightlifting shoes, the Legacy Lifter 2 is probably a good pick for you. The laces are pretty simple. I think it's actually the same lace that the 1s have, so nothing majorly different there to think about. The heel seems to be the exact same height as the 1s, but the 2 has a little bit more of a heel counter, so this props up a little bit more, and I couldn't really feel it as I was wearing the shoe, but I imagine it locks your foot into place a little bit more. Again, I was talking about how high this back end of the shoe felt like it helped my heel slip. This counter might actually be helping me with the heel slip as well. So regardless of what's helping me, my foot isn't sliding around the shoe, and that's very important to me. Foot comfort in the shoe. It feels almost exactly the same as the 1s. It is pretty cushiony, and that was something that was unique about the Legacy Lifter 1s, is the fact that they were very cushiony compared to other weightlifting shoes. The 2s feel about the same. They do feel pretty cushiony, but one thing that is a little bit different is the insole. So like I've talked about with other weightlifting shoes, such as the Nike Romeo 3s and 4s, I feel like those shoes have a big arch that props up in your foot, which is a little uncomfortable. I noticed that the 2s actually have that as well, but it's not as big as the Nike Romeo 3s and the Nike Romeo 4s. So it's actually a little bit more comfortable for me. It feels like it adds a sense of stability. It's not too flat, but the arch also doesn't prop up too much. In comparison to the 1s, I do think that the 2s have a little bit higher of an arch. So if you have flat feet, you may have a problem with the 2s because of this. Alright, now I did want to interject one time and say, after wearing the shoe a couple more times, I did notice that the insoles between the Legacy Lifter 1 and the Legacy Lifter 2 are about exactly the same. I think in my Legacy Lifter 1s, the insole is maybe a little bit flatter, and that's probably because I've worn it so many times, but the shape is about the same. But again, I stand by, when I was wearing the shoe, I felt like the 2s had just a little bit more of an arch that pushed up into your foot. And I'll show you guys the insoles just so you can see for yourselves. So here are the insoles. The right is the Legacy Lifter 1 and the left is the Legacy Lifter 2s. And you can see they're about the same. The arch side comes up about the same height, but when you're wearing the shoe it feels a little bit different. Alright, I'm trying to think. Anything else? I talked about the outsole, talked about the straps, talked about the comfort, talked about the insole. Final thoughts. I do think it is a better shoe overall compared to the Legacy Lifter 1. I do think the 1s have a more iconic look. When I look at the shoe, I think Legacy Lifter. When I look at the 2s, they look a little bit more like toys almost. I know they went for this more retro look with the shoe, and it's kind of cool, but as a big, strong weightlifter, I don't know if I want super like colorful, fun looking weightlifting shoes. I want something a little bit more rugged and more solid looking, I guess. It's kind of hard to explain how a good weightlifting shoe looks. I'm not a huge fan of the looks. I think over time they'll drop more colorways and that might make a huge difference. Again, I don't really like the little splash of paint look. I don't think that is good looking. It looks like they were going for a certain style, a certain look with the shoe. And regardless of the looks, the shoe performs better than the 1s, and that's really what matters. I will say, if you are looking for a good, solid, heavier weightlifting shoe that will perform well, the Legacy Lifter 2 is a good shoe, and that is something I did not think I would say from the start, but that seems to be the case. I like the shoe a lot. I might actually continue to wear it. We'll see. I really like my Asics. But this is definitely a good shoe, and it's a great alternative for someone who wants a heavy weightlifting shoe. All right, thank you guys for watching. I hope this was informational and helpful for you. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more stuff like this. I'm gonna try and review other newer weightlifting shoes as they continue to come out. I'm hoping that when the Olympics comes finally that maybe more weightlifting shoes will drop, but we'll see when the Olympics actually happens. Once again, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.